Thank you for joining the National Weather Service in Missoula for our planning briefing. Today is Sunday, August 21st. Looking at the key points of weather for the next week, we start with Monday when low pressure approaches the Northern Rockies, producing scattered thunderstorms and increasing humidity slightly. Then on Tuesday, the low pressure will continue to intensify along the Canada border, but thunderstorms will be more confined to western Montana on this day, with north central Idaho a bit dry. However, Wednesday through Friday we'll see about a repeat daily of daily thunderstorms for the Northern Rockies, with that low pressure mostly stationary across the Canada border. Areas that are most favored for precipitation are along the Continental Divide, and for much of the rest of the region, thermal belts will remain, except for those areas across northwest Montana close to the low pressure. So let's dig down into this. Right here we're seeing a satellite image showing activity over the Pacific Ocean. If we look here, we see one low pressure system south of the Aleutians, and then also low pressure down here off the Oregon-California coast. This one closer to the mainland of the U.S. is what is going to be meandering over here along the Canada border, northwest Montana and northern Idaho, over the next couple of days, and that will be the source of our weather over the next week. So here I'm showing a little bit of a representation of daily thunderstorm activity here on Monday afternoon, and then we go into Monday evening, and you'll see that the clouds, the brightness of the clouds recycles here for Tuesday evening, and it basically goes through this kind of progression each day. Here's Wednesday afternoon and evening, and each time these cloud features bubble up, it's really a representation of thunderstorms over the area here all the way through the week. If we're looking at confidence about this kind of pattern, here's a show of how many ensembles and global models are agreeing on this pattern. So the important thing to notice here is up here in northeast Washington, northern Idaho, you see this kind of low pressure, and you see it on a lot of these panels, or even a trough of low pressure on these upper right panels. The composite of all this shows a bit of a low pressure over that area, and that's going to just be causing the thunderstorms to fire up on a daily basis, and this is very emblematic of this coming week. We look at the precipitation for the whole week. This is just one model representation here. As you can see, for some areas, high elevations in Glacier National Park, we could be getting over an inch total for the week, and this is more representation of a higher peak, and I'm using this more to illustrate how there'll be a difference between Glacier Park and as you go further south and west towards north central Idaho, where lesser amounts of precipitation here in the not even 1/10 of an inch range down near Riggins, Idaho. And so I wanted to illustrate this looking more at our RAWS sites. You can see the darker greens and into yellow and oranges here are where we expect more precipitation over the next week, where the very light green, almost white colored dots are more indicative of the less than 1/10 of an inch over time. Digging down into this, we start at Fielding RAWS in Montana near the Continental Divide, and you can see that there's some good precipitation chances here on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and what we see below here is the humidity trace. So once we get up here in the green area on the humidity trace, that's where we're getting some fairly strong recoveries of humidity overnight. You can see that the rain's really affecting this day in and day out for the Fielding RAWS. Thermal belts are kind of going away for this area. Contrast that with BCBaldy up here in the Kootenai, further northwest of Montana. You can see that there's less precipitation over time, and it's more varied how the thermal belts will react each overnight. So here, Sunday into Monday, Monday into Tuesday, those thermal belts are pretty solid, but the precipitation and that low pressure just being around in northwest Montana for a longer period of time means that some of those thermal belts go away temporarily, But then as the pattern changes toward next weekend, we see the thermal belts start to return. But you contrast this with a place like Southfork in Idaho, where we see the thermal belts pretty strong and not changing too dramatically throughout the entire week. And so this is more emblematic of what north central Idaho locations outside of valleys will be experiencing during this time. Less chance of precipitation and thermal belts staying with us for a longer period of time. So here's a summary of what we talked about. You see a lot of thunderstorms pretty much day in and day out from Monday all the way through Friday for all of north central Idaho except for Tuesday, and then all of western Montana pretty much the whole week. We'll see some periods of perhaps some heavy rain, some gusty winds, some lightning. Not a lot of hail expected, but this is just going to be almost a repeat, a rinse and repeat on a daily basis. So thank you for that. Our next briefing will be on Thursday, August 25th. If you have any questions, please contact us at the number below. We look forward to hearing from you, and hopefully we'll see you on the next briefing. Thanks so much.